you got to the point that you were saying, I don't want to live like that, like this.
Yeah, right. So where we were is we had too many cats. We have, if we got rid of either one of the cats, it would have been fine. But it was just, it was not a life that I wanted to live in, and trying to get, keeping the cats separated, and then knowing that if one of us happened to make a mistake, whether it was us or the children or the nanny, that it was going to be a mess and torturous for one of the animals.
Yeah, and is that not still a concern at all?
Oh,
When they make a mistake.
No, it's absolutely a concern. Because the nanny, unfortunately, has let a cat out, and usually if one of them does get out, immediately everyone starts screaming to grab the other one, or where's the other one? We've got to find him or her and get them locked up before they connect with each other. It's like I said, we've tried everything that we could possibly think of to get the two to live together, and I've become so, when I adopt a cat, I make a commitment to them to give them the best life possible. And I don't think that they're getting the best life possible in the scenarios that they're in with the way that they behave with each other. But both of them are wonderful cats, and I feel like they should be able to get along. I just don't see why they can't get along, so I need help from someone else that might be able to see something that we can't, because this has been 18 months of hell for both of the cats, for all of us, for our children's friends, because if we know someone's coming over, we have to make accommodations so that no one lets a cat out. If we have friends over, we have to make sure they know, don't open that the front bedroom door. There's a cat in there that, that doesn't get along with another one. I mean, I think the entire neighborhood knows that we have two cats that hate each other, and you need to be careful when you come and make sure that those two don't come together. So, it's not a scenario that we want to continue to live with. And unfortunately, it's not an option to get rid of one either.
Thinking back to some of the incidents that did happen, the taste that you got of it once or twice before, and thinking about, what is that worst case scenario if those cats come together and you're not, 100% on top of it, and what if it's your kids hanging out and their friends are over?
Yeah, the worst case thing is if Susan and I, one of us is not home to intervene, and say the nanny is there with the children, and the children have friends, and somebody makes a mistake, lets one out, they have a big fight, they're running around the house, and God forbid one of the kids tries to help or something and gets in the way and gets scratched up, and going on from there. But
yeah, because we do allow Izzy's claws to get really sharp so that she can defend herself, and they both will bite, and absolutely, in a frenzy, Einstein will bite if someone were to stick their hands in there, which is why we do have water bottles around the house, and we try to teach the children to use the water bottles if there's any behavior that they need to stop from either one of them. The problem is, I think in the heat of a moment, if cats started fighting, like me, my immediate response is to jump in there, and it's not a good response, because you are going to get hurt.
And I'm clarifying this because we see a lot of biting, and the biting you're talking about is not a typical cat biting. So I'm just trying to get that from you, because when you say, if somebody intervenes when Einstein is in that frantic mode, or even Izzy fearing for her life is trying to get away, they're capable of just completely freaking out and clawing you up from what I've seen and heard.
Oh yeah.
So I'm just like, I want you to kind of emphasize that in terms of the real threat that is there. They're capable of more than a little bite when they're in that moment.
Absolutely. When they are in a fight, as I mentioned, it is like a cat fight out in the wild, outside in an alleyway. It is full on survival mode, and anybody getting involved in that is going to be a part of I guess, stopping their survival. And unfortunately, it is going to be aggressive biting, and it's going to be aggressive clawing. It is complete out of control chaos. Like I said, I mean, it's as though they're fighting to the death to see who is going to walk away from this. And usually when they do it, it's in a fairly tight space, like it's happened in my son's bathroom. And, it is a very small space with a lot of fur and a lot of hands and feet and tails. Just going crazy, and it's fearful. I want it to stop, but you don't know what to do to make it stop. So it's very scary. And I can only imagine if we had a friend of one of our children over here and something like that happened. Honestly, I don't think that they could stop it, because the nanny is not going to do anything. She doesn't. I think she'd be scared to death. And like I said, the children, honestly, they're too young to take control of a situation like that. And I think their immediate response would put them in harm's way.
The situation we're in, though, is that everybody's held captive right now. One of the cats is always locked up at any one time, and we're, in a sense, locked up in that we're constantly having to maintain doors in the house and shut something off. Or the kids, when they go to bed with Izzy in Ashton's room, he's locked in there with her.
And unfortunately, just locking them behind the doors doesn't stop the situation, because Einstein claws to get in. He has completely destroyed the carpet at the base of Ashton's door. You can see down to the wood. He has clawed at it so much. He has started clawing at at McKenna's door. So he's destroying the house in his attempt to get to wherever they are. So, just closing them behind the closed doors is unfortunately not a good solution for anybody, because like Seth said, they're being held captive, but they're trying to dig their way out, or their way in to the other one. So it's destroying the home. It's tearing up the carpet in one of the front bedrooms that we had kind of designated as Einstein's room for quite some time. When the animal behaviorist came, he started tearing up that carpet, and I had all kinds of makeshift like paper down that I put tape all over, double-sided tape on, so that if he touched it, he would move away from it because it would feel funny on his paws. So we've done a lot of things to try to protect the value of the home and trying to keep them secluded. Unfortunately, we're all being held captive, and it's not a good scenario, and there is digging to get in and out of those spaces.
And is there, it sounds like it has once gotten to that point before, but is there a place where either of you would draw the line and say, something has to change, one of these guys has to go, we're not living like this anymore?
Well, Seth told me that about...
Sorry, Seth told you what?
Seth told me that one of them had to go, that I needed to open my eyes and see that they were not going to get along, and the only way to resolve it was to get rid of Izzy. Because she was the last one in. And that was probably 6 months into the torture, and I didn't feel like I had given it enough time, and I wanted to try more things. I was holding on to the hope that there was an answer, that there was something that we could do to make things right, and unfortunately we have not been able to make things right, and we've just continued in our because
where do you stand on that now? Is there a time frame, or is there an incident that would...
Yeah, tough call, right? It's a little bit of an empty threat, but because I go from at one point saying one of these cats has to go, and I did it at a time where the new cat was relatively new to the family. But then she got me because she asked for a little bit more time, in which time she got me loving the cat, and now it's a little bit tough, and the kids are growing up with him, and they don't want to let him go either. So basically, I gave up.
Now, would you be sort of if the situation did get worse and it became harder to manage, is that what's holding you back? Is it because of the kids' attachment? Are you a little bit torn in that way?
Yeah, trying to get rid of one of them now because of the attachment with the kids would probably be more cruel than I would want to do.
What about you, Susan?
There's no way I could get rid of any of my babies. I mean, they're my babies.
And it feels like, do you feel like they're now
That's
your
not
kids' babies too? You mentioned to me on the phone that anytime your husband's talked about giving one of them up, that they've...
No, wait a minute, because in all fairness, right, you were just trying to get rid of Einstein, trying to get your brother to take him not long ago, right? And I don't want Einstein to go because I don't think it's fair that the one that was originally here, the one that's longest, who has, I believe, in an animal sense, a right to be angry that he's got these invaders in the house, is the one that you end up kicking out. And plus, he and I are the ones that get along the most.
I did offer, yeah, so I think it was somewhat in jest because my brother did just recently lose his cat, and I jokingly said, hey, would you like a 6-year-old Bourbon? And his name is Einstein. And I think the reason that I was even joking with my brother was because I don't really feel like I was giving him away because he was going to a family member, and I think I could get him back if some time had passed and I wanted to reintroduce again. I wasn't going to give him, I could not give him away for good.
So would you guys have a hard time figuring out, would you disagree on what cat would go?
Yes.
Yes, what?
We would have a very difficult time agreeing on who would go.
And Susan, just from you, tell me about how your two kids are with the cats. Do they each have their favorite, or do they both love them all? What's the dynamic there?
So the children in our house love all of our cats. The ones that are probably most responsive to the kids are the younger ones, just because they came in when the kids were little and able to interact with them better. And so Izzy certainly is a great cat for the kids. She's small. All of her friends absolutely adore her. And honestly, I don't think most of her friends or anybody really gets a chance to see Einstein because he's the one who's usually locked away. Because Izzy is much more social and she has free reign of the house during the daytime. But honestly, the kids, they love all the cats. There's no way they could let any of them go. But I think...
When it has gotten to the point where you did have to have that discussion, how did they respond and how did you feel about that?
Well, as soon as I mentioned the fact that I had mentioned to my brother about taking Einstein, they both started crying. I think, Seth, when you mentioned it early on, they were adamant that you could not get rid of Izzy. There's no way that you could get rid of her. I mean, they were distraught that there was any consideration that you were going to get rid of one of their cats.
They do what all kids do. When you tell them something that they don't like, they start crying.
But I think that they genuinely, they love these cats. They take care of them. They feed them. They brush them, and they love them, as much as any children can love a cat that they've had in their lives, their whole lives. So,
tell me about when you mentioned a little bit earlier, the 18 months of hell that you've been living in, and being on your tippy toes and making sure no mistakes are made. I just want to kind of get a clear, explanation there of the situation currently in terms of what exactly you do, the accommodations you make, the routines that are in place, and how you're all involved in that. Just explain to me the dynamics there.
So the current scenario that we have with dealing with the separation of the cats is a daily occurrence, and it does involve everyone in the family knowing who's supposed to be where. So the way we work this is every morning, Izzy has been asleep in my son's room. The doors have been closed. There have been some type of physical barriers put up on the exterior side of their doors, which helps to prevent Einstein from digging at the the crack at the door. So we do try to put up those barricades on the outside of the doors. And then in the morning, we first go into McKenna's room and remove her barricade and move it to the inside of her door. And Einstein's usually the first one in the morning. And he goes straight into McKenna's room. First thing in the morning, we close her door. We have now isolated him into her room. We have established the barricade on the inside of the door so that he does not try to dig to get out. We then proceed into Ashton's room. Izzy comes out of Ashton's room. We move his barricades to the inside of Ashton's door. We open up the bathroom doors in between their bedrooms, and Einstein will have full reign of his space in the children's rooms and their bathroom that connects throughout the day. And then at nighttime, we reverse that. So at nighttime, we bring Izzy physically in our hands upstairs. We bring her into one of the kids' bedrooms, and if Einstein is asleep on the bed, usually Seth will love on him and will close Izzy up into the other room until it's time for everyone to go to bed. And at that point, Einstein is removed. The barricades are all moved to the outside of the doors. The bedroom doors are closed. Izzy is now sealed off from the outside of the house, or from the physical room of the house, and Einstein has room of the house at night. So in essence, Izzy has free reign of the house during the day, and Einstein has free reign of the house at night.
And so it sounds like you have, morning, night routines, everybody knows their roles.
Absolutely. So everybody knows their role. Yeah, everybody knows their role in this process. The children know, like on the weekends when they get up, Izzy comes out in someone's arms, and the first question is, where is Einstein? And we make sure that he is sealed off, if you will. He's put into a bedroom. He's closed off before Izzy is put down on the floor. And it may take some time to find him if he's not right at their doors, but the kids know that she is not allowed down until Einstein has been secluded to some space. If they can't find him, then they know she has to stay in the bedrooms until he has been secured, and they flip-flop their roles. But the kids know that she never walks out of a room on her own free will. She has to come out in someone's arms until Einstein has been secluded into a space.
Sometimes when I'm working from home and I hear Einstein upstairs, I will lock Izzy up in a bedroom and then let him out for a little bit. But for the most part, he's locked up in the kids' room all day.
And I'm going to have you give me just probably a couple of just quick lists. We got a lot of this, in the explanations, but I'm going to have you give a couple of quick summaries. One, let's go back to quickly in terms of the things tried. Give me just a bullet list. Like, we've consulted vets, we've read books, we've hired a behaviorist, we're, our house is on lockdown, we're out of ideas. Like that kind of thing in your own words.
We've done everything that we can possibly think of to try to acclimate the cats. We've introduced them slowly. We have consulted our vet. We've consulted an animal behaviorist. I've read books. I've looked on the internet. We've put them in cages close to each other to desensitize them. We've separated them by a door with paws touching.
We've had them make sure to have them smell each other's spaces.
Yeah.
We've had them share rooms. We've had them not. We've had them,
to put things that have each other's smell on them in the other room, to try to share the room, to create that sense of common smell between the two. So we've tried everything possible.
I'm just going to have you give a list of the problems. Again, just a kind of bullet point thing in terms of if these two, we have to live this way, because if these two, get at each other and we're not there to just immediately jump in and intervene, like fur-wise, it's a war. One of us gets caught in the crossfire. The worst-case scenario is the reason why you have to live this way and why you need this help.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Start with what's the started question again?
Bullet list of the concerns and the problems. Like, if we don't handle the situation this way, if we're not on top of it, every day, all day, these two get in a room together, fur flies, blood could be shed, one of us gets caught in the crossfire, like the biggest concerns there. Just
Yeah.
a quick kind of bulleted list.
Okay. if we don't keep them separated properly, one of them gets out, there's sure to be a fight. There's going to be a mess of hair, feces, and urine. Somebody could get hurt trying to break them apart. And honestly, we're a little bit scared for the life of the smaller cat.
Good deal. So before I'm going to have your, kids come join you for a little bit.
Okay.
But before that, I'm just going to have, while it's still you two, we always like to have people give like a plea directly to Jackson. And again, remember, emergency room of cat behavior. This is a serious problem. You need this help as much as anybody. So just each of you, look directly in the camera and say, please, Jackson, you're our last hope, or whatever in your own words, as to why you really need him to come and help you.
So Jackson, I desperately need your help. You are my last saving hope for being able to have these two cats live together. I have done everything that I can possibly think of, from reading books to drugging the cats to trying to desensitize them to each other. I have done everything that I think humanly possible. And it's been 18 months of something that I thought would take 2 days. And I desperately, sincerely need any help that you can provide to make this a happy home and to make these cats happy with each other so that they as well can live happy lives, because they're not happy today.
Please come help us out so that we don't have to live in a house of captivity until one of the cats dies.
Good deal. So, okay, so we have, it's Ashton and McKenna. You said
Yes.
the kids, are they still there close by, or do you?
They are.
They're here.
Come on over, guys.
Okay, so can they squeeze into frame with
Yes,
you?
I
Sure.
think so. And I think we have Izzy in the picture, if that's okay. She doesn't go far. She doesn't go far from the children.
Izzy's not the perp. That's okay.
Yeah.
It's always a little weird if we see the bad cat in the picture. Like
Right.
No.
This is the little innocent victim.
Gotcha. Okay, so Ashton and McKenna are there with you?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Hi guys.
Hi.
Joining us. Hi. Okay, so I'm gonna have you introduce yourselves here in just a little bit. I know this is a little bit weird, some random voice on the phone, but just be yourselves. You're just gonna talk directly into the camera. And we're just going to ask you a little bit about the problem you're having and how you feel about your cats and why you need this help. Try and speak in complete sentences, just because, so that we'll always understand what you're talking about, and try and speak up just a little bit more than you normally would, okay?
Okay.
Good. Okay, so, Susan and Seth, I'll have you lead off a little bit. Let's get just a quick intro, how we did in the beginning. Say, I'm Susan, I'm Seth, and these are our kids, Ashton and McKenna. And then we'll have each of them say, hi, I'm Ashton, hi, I'm McKenna.
Hi, I'm Susan.
And I'm Seth.
I'm Ashton. And I'm McKenna.
Perfect. Okay, and now let's do that one more time. And Ashton and McKenna, say your ages.
Hi, I'm Susan.
I'm Seth.
I'm Ashton, and I'm 9 years old. I'm McKenna, and I'm 7 years old.
Perfect. Okay, so Ashton and McKenna, whichever ones of you, feel free to just, jump in, either one of you that wants to speak, but make sure you both get your input in. So tell me we're focusing mainly on Einstein and Izzy. So tell me, who are your cats? And,
Well-
tell me just a little bit about them.
All of our cats?
Izzy and I.
Just
Okay, Izzy and Einstein. Well, Izzy is nice and small. She's very lovable, and she is very sweet. And Einstein, he's also a very sweet cat. It's just these days he's been stressed out because he's so worried about Izzy and trying to get to Izzy and making sure she's gone.
What I
But
think is
it's-
why they fight is because Einstein is jealous because he thinks that we might be spending a little too much time with Izzy.
And
so, why do you think that? What happens there? What's he doing?
Well, he's fighting, and one time he even bit her tail.
One time he what?
One time he actually bit the tail of Izzy.
Well, I want to explain how the fight starts. So the fight starts, so we'll put them in the room together, we'll hold them both, and so we'll rub on Einstein, make him all happy, and Izzy will growl because she knows you're gonna tackle me and I'm gonna get scared and you're gonna hurt me. So she growls at him when he doesn't even have time to do anything except for purr because he's being rubbed. And so then he gets angry, I think, just because he's like, well, hey, I was here first. You have no right to tell me you can't do that. So he gets upset and he goes after her and he hurts her to tell her, you can't do that anymore. You can't tell me what to do.
And then so
The fight just keeps going. And then we go and we'll get the water gun and we'll squirt them. Well, squirt thingy. And we'll squirt him so he'll stop. And I don't think it's fair for him to be hurt like that with the water and for him to be angry like that. He was here first. He can do what he wants. And she should, so we have to cover her eyes too, so she can't see him. And then she gets angry with that. And so we just need her to, I think she just needs to stop growling and it'll all be okay. She just can't growl at him to start it. And I think they'll be a little bit better off.
I see. And who was that just talking?
Ashton?
Ashton. Okay, McKenna, what do you think about it? Do you agree?
yes.
I understand it's gotten pretty scary sometimes, huh?
Yeah.
Yes.
What can you tell me about some of the one of the worst incidents you've seen and how scary that was?
When Einstein, well, the fight, how it started is, well, we had them both out, and Izzy was just sitting, relaxing, and minding her own business on one of our dad's chairs in his office, and then Einstein comes walking, and then he sees her. And then, so Izzy jumps down, ready to run, because she knows she has no other space, and to run up on the chair, so, and she knows that Einstein will jump up. So she ran down, and then Einstein just chased after her and bit her tail. And that really scared me.
But Izzy
Were
had
you
growled
ever afraid
first.
that Einstein will hurt Izzy, or were you ever afraid that he was going to really hurt her, or that he was trying to kill her even?
Yes.
Yes. What? Can you just give me a full sentence?
I think that he's after her and trying to just eat her, but I don't know why, because they're both Berman and they're both Blue Points, and I don't really get it.
I understand one. I don't know if it was one of you or both of you. Did you get scratched one time even?
Yes, I've been scratched multiple.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about that?
Well, I don't really remember the fights, but I do remember one of their worst fights where she was up on a bar stool. I think our mom's already explained this one. But she was up on the bar stool. Einstein was walking around. She saw him. And so she growled. And so then he realized, there she is. So he got all upset, like, you can growl at me. He jumped up there, she jumped down, and then so she peed on the stool quite a bit, and then she hopped down, and she was running, and she peed again, and then so they went under the bed, and they looked like this gigantic puffball, and it's just sad just seeing how they do this. And so they just look like this ball of hissing and fur. And then, so we pulled Einstein out of the bed after squirting him a couple times. And then, so we usually spank him and lock him up. And so that time she had also pooped. And so it was just sad. And so she had lost a lot of fur. And so had he, and she is just so scared, she doesn't seem to fight back until he finally hurts her. And she shouldn't growl.
But what's weird is she fights back on other cats except for Einstein. Because I think she thinks that he's big and he's stronger than me, I'm not sure I can fight back.
Have you guys ever been scared of getting hurt yourselves when he gets upset like that?
Yes.
Yes. When he does, I am going for the squirt bottle, and I am just so angry with him. But I'm also a little bit angry with Izzy for not learning. You can't growl, you can't growl, you can't growl. He might not do it this time, you can't growl. Because that's how the fights start every time. She growls, he attacks.
Or that
Are you
she.
scared though?
Yes, but I am also scared that I will get hurt in the process of trying to help her not get seriously injured and him hurting her. And so I have been hurt before and trying to stop them, and I am also scared for her, and I'm just scared, and it's just sad.
Yeah, and I understand that you guys have an important role in, helping to keep that from happening. Can you tell me a little bit about your routine, like at night, in the mornings, and what you have to help mom and dad do to make sure everybody is safe?
Well, we help them put up the stuff to block our doors so Einstein doesn't claw at the carpet and doesn't mess it up. And our mom and dad said, I would carry her upstairs at night, and I would put her in one of the bedrooms, and we would get Einstein out and lock her up.
Well, I think I might, no offense, McKenna, but I think I play a bigger role because I have her sleep with me, so he can't get in, and so she sleeps with me every night, and I like having her in there. Now, yes, McKenna does play an important role, but she sleeps with me, and so in the mornings they go get McKenna up first, and then they come and get me, and then we lock him up, and we take her out. During the weekends, though, McKenna will wake up, and she'll be doing something in her room, and so I'll wake up, and we'll open up the bathroom doors because our bedrooms connect through the bathroom. And so we'll walk in through, and we'll do stuff in there, and so then later we'll come down. And so that's how we do it during the weekends.
Or like when
Good,
school's
good.
out.
Well, it sounds like
Yeah,
you're all kind
when
of,
school's out.
have it down to a science there.
Yes.
So do you guys it sounds like you love your cats. I mean, they sleep with you. Tell me about, just your relationship with Einstein and Izzy.
Well, I really don't want them to go because I love them so much, and they both love me very much too, and I just don't want them to leave because they're my best buds.
Yeah, have you ever been afraid that you would have to let go of one of them?
Yes.
Sorry, yes,
Say the
what,
whole sentence.
give me a full
Yes,
sentence.
I've been afraid
Of losing one?
of losing one.
Say what you've been afraid of, sweetie.
Because I've heard my parents say, like, hey, do you want to take this cat? And me and Ashton just start crying, and we're like, don't let anyone go.
Was that Ashton just talking?
McKenna.
That was McKenna.
Yeah. Sorry, was that a yes?
No.
Yeah, it was McKenna.
That was McKenna. Okay, sorry, it was a little loud in here. I couldn't hear
Sorry.
well. Ashton, let me hear from you about how you feel about the cats and how would you feel about the idea of having to give one of them up?
Well, I love them so much. I mean, I just, even thinking about it, my eyes tear